and now I'm losing sleep. What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart, but I lost it somehow. Wish that someone could say it'll all be okay. Just listen to me as I say. Listen to me as I slow it down. Dreams are yours if you want it. Breathe the light, 'cause those ups and those downs is what makes it worth it. Slow it down. Dreams are yours if you want it. Breathe the light, 'cause those ups and those downs is what makes it worth it. I never left a stone unturned.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, it does not matter who the host is. Anyways, let's get it moving and grooving as we are talking and hanging and banging and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, today is Tuesday, January the 4th of 2022. Actually, it's a holiday in 2 days now that I think about it. Day 361 of the year, and it is only the fourth day of the year. Yeah, only the fourth day of the year. 361 days left. Hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods, depending on where you're located. Hopefully if you're in the desert, well, then definitely you're sure as shit not inside of the woods. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and of course that other place that we hang out at.
Radio.
So, as we get into the move and the groove of stuff and starting and talking and moving, so I have to tell you right off the bat, because I always find that this stuff interesting, I did say we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and I will tell you, yesterday I had the lovely opportunity to go by and take a look at a new studio. Yeah, a new studio. And I had looked at the studio in the past, and it was amazing to me to find out that from the last time I looked at it to the time that I looked at it now, they had increased the price by 50%. 50% in price increase. I guess inflation really is a thing that is going on. So anyways, let's start talking about some things that are going on inside of this world. So today we will do our typical stuff. We'll talk about what's going on inside of the world of the news and then kind of move some of that stuff around and talk about some other things that are going on, of course, inside of the world. Now that I think about it, it does not look as if the title for this episode updated, but I guess we're okay with that. We'll figure it out as we're going around. So let's get into the move and groove of things, and let's start talking about what was trending in the overnight, because that's going to be important. So hashtag trend my resolution 6 words was trending on Monday as tweets included hug more rescued cows in 2022. I will talk less and do. Join gym just for selfies. Control facial expressions when not mask. And be a Betty, not a Karen. I guess that's some interesting trends for sure. Also, a hashtag Betty White challenge landed on Twitter's top 10 trends yesterday. The hashtag that was used to urge people to pick local rescue or animal shelters to donate any amount of money, no matter how small. on what would have been on Betty's 100th birthday on January the 17th. Another hashtag that was actually hitting around last night was Monday Thoughts was trending yesterday. Tweets included being a vegan is my best and last defense for being a human on this planet. You will never be ready, which I say that a lot to friends of mine. Just start. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. And last but not least, the difference between a good day and a bad day is all about your attitude. So there you go. Also, another thing that was trending last night was NFL fans celebrated Victory Monday after several teams clinched their division. But hold on, wouldn't they have clinched their division on Sunday, not on Monday? But hey, what do I know? This is from a guy that doesn't really watch any kind of sports if it's not mixed martial arts. So there you go. Anyway, so let's start talking and moving. And I think it's time for me to tell you what's going on according to the charts, because it is Tuesday. So that way you know exactly what is, the popular music that is out there, what the kiddos are listening to. So according to Spotify, the number 5 spot was Farruko with Pepas. At number 4 was Glass Animals with Heat Waves. At number 3 was Elton John and Dua Lipa with Cold Heart. At number 2, Gale with ABC, DEFU. And at the number 1 spot was The Kid with Justin Bieber with Stay. According to iTunes, it was a little bit different. At number 5 was Elton John and Dua Lipa with Cold Heart. And number 4 was Walker Hayes and Fancy Like. And number 3 was Gale with ABC, DEFU. At number 2 was James Young with Happiest Year. And at the number 1 spot was Adele with Easy on Me. So there you go. It's always interesting to me, is depending on what you're taking a listen to, on how the different music streams actually show what's actually being played. Like, I would imagine if I pull up something like Pandora or Tidal, it would be much different than what we see on Spotify and on iTunes. Anyway, so a lot of stuff going on today. We're going to talk, we're going to move, we're going to groove. You and I are going to do our thing. We're going to talk a little bit today. We're going to cover what's going on inside of the news. We're going to bring in some professional broadcasters and talk about that stuff. We're going to actually go into some other aspects as well. And we're going to talk about this, which some people are not going to like it, on why your reality sucks. Yeah, why your reality sucks. That'll be part of our main story. And essentially, we're just going to talk about how your reality is not true. And what? Yeah, I know that'll be slightly confusing. Anyways, as we continue on talking this morning, let's get to our friends at Feature Story News, because they always have a lot of good stuff to talk about, where I, on the other hand, I guess I just have a lot to talk about.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has been convicted of defrauding investors in a California court. Prosecutors had claimed she'd knowingly lied about rapid blood testing technology. She'd denied the charges against her, but could face decades in jail for those on which she's been convicted. India recorded over 37,000 fresh COVID infections in the last day, the highest daily rise in 4 months. The country's also been seeing a spike in the number of Omicron infections in its major cities, as Sriyoshi Mukherjee reports.
India's health ministry reported that the Omicron tally in the country has crossed over 1,800 cases, with the highest being reported in Maharashtra and Delhi. Seeing the alarming rise in the number of coronavirus cases in the capital, government officials will be meeting to discuss the need for more restrictions in New Delhi. Last week, Delhi enforced new guidelines under which a night curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. has been imposed. Schools, colleges, cinema halls, auditoriums and gyms are closed until further notice. On Monday, India also started vaccinating teenagers to protect its adolescent population ahead of a possible wave of coronavirus infections.
Health leaders in the UK are warning COVID-related staff shortages are causing major challenges, with patient capacity reduced. At least 6 hospital trusts have now declared a critical incident, putting some services at risk. Dr. Layla McKay from the NHS Confederation says some trusts have 10% of staff off because of COVID illness or isolation.
This is causing real challenges with being able to maintain services. I think that the other challenge is, with so much COVID around, trying to look after people in hospitals, in healthcare settings with COVID. Because of all the extra infection control approaches that are needed, that really is reducing the capacity as well.
The US, China, Russia, France and the UK have signed a joint statement agreeing to work together to avoid potential nuclear war and limit the further spread of nuclear weapons. Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
The 5 world powers who signed this joint statement are also the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. It's a rare sign of unity between countries who've been at odds over a range of issues, from trade to security, and they've had their fair share of diplomatic spats. In the statement released by the White House, they affirmed that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. They added that nuclear weapons, for as long as they continue to exist, should serve defensive purposes, deter aggression and prevent war. And they said they were committed to the article in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which calls for nuclear disarmament. The statement was supposed to come at the same time as a review conference of the treaty, but that has been postponed because of the coronavirus pandemic.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, and for this first Spotlight of the year, we're putting the focus on the Beijing Winter Olympics. They are just a month away now, and it is now apparent that only a handful of countries are going to join the Biden administration's diplomatic boycott. Britain, Australia and Canada, like the US, will have no government officials observing the Games. But the EU, worried about blowback from China, has yet to announce an agreed position. And in the US, the Biden administration is accused by its opponents of not going far enough. Bob McMahon is an analyst with the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations.
The people who criticize the move on other grounds say it's basically half measures. Okay, you don't send an official delegation, but so what? The athletes are still there. China still gets to host the games that will take place with full participation and so forth. But the fact of announcing this, the fact of calling attention to China's record on human rights does register with China. China does not like to be called out in this way. They vehemently defend their record and they vehemently defend their right to carry out their internal affairs as they see fit, whether it's repressing people as they see fit, all sorts of measures that China takes that are seen as outside of international norms. You will see a consistent Chinese approach to mitigate against what they call interventions in internal affairs.
The Games get underway with opening ceremonies on February the 4th. Anxieties about COVID-19 perhaps causing more immediate concern in Beijing than the US-led boycott. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has been convicted of defrauding investors in a California court. India recorded over 37,000 fresh COVID infections in the last day, the highest daily rise in 4 months. UK health leaders are warning COVID-related staff shortages are causing major challenges, and the US, China, Russia, France and the UK have signed a statement agreeing to work together to avoid nuclear war. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
7-Up is all action.
No matter what the time or place, let's keep up with that happy pace. Get real action, 7-Up your thirst away. Get real action, 7-Up your thirst away. Say life's great, all of it. With 7-Up, let's make a ball of it. With 7-Up.
Any thirst you can get, 7-Up can quench quickly, completely. It restarts the natural moisture in your mouth. 7-Up is all action.
With 7-Up, you'll quench your thirst. With 7-Up, you'll quench it first. Get real action. 7-Up, 7-Up, 7-Up your thirst away.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes twice a day, making sure they brush their teeth, is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, magic. Let's just not say Magic Mike, but we can say magic as much as you want. Anyways, currently, let's take a look. It is 18 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out doing our gizmo. Doing our gig, doing our thing together as we are hanging out and doing everything. You know, it's always kind of interesting when we start going into some of this older stuff. Let's not lie here. I'm not going to turn around and be like, oh, yes, I hate doing the older dem because I'd be lying to you if I told you that. Because here's the thing. I mean, I have found a whole array of old commercials over the last little bit. So it's been pretty interesting taking a gander and taking a listen and taking a look-see into some of that stuff. So I'm not going to lie there. So definitely some interesting times as we are going around and about and so on and all of that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, currently 19 minutes past the top of the hour. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the news. Not sure exactly what you love. Not sure exactly what you hate. Anyways, our phone lines are open. And our video chat and also our text messaging. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That is callinradio.com. And we will definitely get to you inside of that. And then also, if you are on social media, you're able to type it inside of the social media boxes, or we get to do some stuff inside of there. Now, the only thing that I always tell people is, sometimes there's a delay on some of these things, and sometimes we don't see anything when it comes to certain platforms, and I don't know why it works out that way. So I just want you to be aware. So callinradio.com is normally the easiest way to make sure that things will actually end up coming about. So yesterday, if you were here during our main story, we were talking about coercive control. Coercive control. And some people seem to like it. Some people really seem to enjoy the information of what was going around and what was going about when it came to that whole thing. So it's always kind of fun talking about it. Now, and I did tell you that there was somebody that I had talked to, and they had stated, a lot of stuff, and I guess I felt like I was talking about it, and we interacted during the show, and then we actually interacted shortly thereafter. And they told me, which I thought was kind of amazing, that they would have no problem on a day like today coming into one of the boxes and posting the company website on who not to work for. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And something told me that that was one of those things that was born out of the conversation, out of frustration, and that I knew that that would never happen. So as we're hanging out this morning, I have been taking a look at all the different media that we have available, and I have seen nada, absolutely nothing related to any such information, which is exactly what I kind of expected, because nobody in their right mind should go out there and do anything along those lines. I mean, I get it. I really do. I really do get some of that information. Anyway, so let's start talking about some of the things that are going on today inside of the world of the news and some of that kind of fun stuff. So New Year's remuneration, and employment experts say that now is the perfect time to ask for an overdue pay raise. David Tatisky, vice president of consulting at salary.com, says that there has never been a time when employees felt or have felt so empowered to use their voices to ask to get paid as they feel what they are worth. Why? Because the market for job seekers is unusually competitive right now, with some businesses even being forced to advertise that they are looking for workers. Amber Ferrari, marketing manager at JobVite, a company that helps employees attract and retain talent, said that the time is ripe to negotiate your salary. Companies want to sustain their culture, which is harder to do with many workers, leaving. And with inflation where it's at right now these days, if your company is offering you less than about 6.8% pay raise, that's essentially equals a pay cut. To keep that in mind when you're asking others tips to ask for a raise is to do the following. I mean, I guess this is a good way to start. Make a list of your recent accomplishments. Research what others in similar positions are making. Schedule a meeting with your boss, but make sure it's a good day for your boss. I don't know. I've had some shitty bosses, and they always seem to have some bad days, but I don't know. What is a good day? Have your answers ready and ask to why granting you a raise is a win-win for you and your employer. And follow up with a thank you and an inquiry to when the decision will be made. I guess that's some ways to go about it. Definitely some ways to think about it. I asked for a raise yesterday, but my wife said no. Same as last month. So I guess that's not going to be occurring. And then the bad news is that another employment expert says that now is a horrible time to ask for a raise, and that expert, of course, is my boss. So I guess go out there and figure out what exactly needs to happen next.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
So I don't know. Do you think it is a really good time to be asking for a raise, or do you look at it and go, I would not ask for a raise in this particular side of the market during these times? I mean, it's just something to think about. A lot of interesting things going on right now. Would you ask for a raise if you have the opportunity to do so? An opportunity to do so is essentially just going into that office and asking for a raise. I mean, I don't know. The job market, is it not as competitive as people are thinking? I mean, I don't know. Just something to think about and talk about. Anyways, let's get into some other stuff. Dry dating. Have you heard about this? There is a new dating trend as we enter 2022, and it's called dry dating. What is that? The practice simply involves not drinking alcohol when you're on the date. Shan Budram, a sex and relationship expert from the dating app Bumble, says that more people are saying that you know what? I don't need to drink on a first date. Do you need a drink on a second date? Okay, no. That is that's new since the pandemic. Experts say that drinking has both disadvantages and advantages when it comes to dating. It could lead to the disclosure of information in a way that the person wouldn't normally be comfortable with. But on the other hand, alcohol helps us relax, which you could make it easier in some people to connect. What exactly do we mean here when we say connect? To make things more transparent, Bumble has developed a profile badge as a way of telling people they prefer an alcohol-free first date, and it's become one of the app's most used features. So hold on, just want to make sure that I understand this. So I put on Bumble. Of course, if I was dating, let's just make sure that we understand that I'm not dating. That I don't want to drink on the first date. And so this is now a batch on my app. So what happens if all of a sudden out of the blue, I change my mind mid-date and I want to start drinking? Does that change everything? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. And then the other portion is if you don't drink on the first date and you drink heavily on the second date, and I'm saying heavily because you have a designated driver and all that other fun stuff. So let's just make sure that we're clear. Does it become one of those weird ideas that the people think that you're drinking heavily because you're trying to be a little bit more relaxed, or you really don't like the person who you're with? I mean, I don't know. There's some stuff to think about. But what does it say about me that my first reaction to that is great idea? I could save a ton of money on booze. That's, I guess, one thing. And then it's funny that the person I was matched with had that badge, and I was very clear that she shouldn't be drinking right up until the minute she said she laid her eyes on me. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, maybe it is time to be drinking. I mean, I don't know. Who knows anymore?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, you know it's tongue-in-cheek. You know everything there is tongue-in-cheek when it comes to that info and when we're talking and grooving and grooving. I love how this camera is possessed and it does its own thing. And it goes around and it goes, hey, I'm just going to sit here and move, and I am going to dictate on when I'm going to allow you to do whatever with it. Just one of those fun things to think about when it's all said and done. So there you go. Just some things to think about as we are moving and grooving and all that kind of fun stuff. So anyways, let's continue talking and going forward from there. By the way, it looks like my chat box is down, so just for information purposes, and we'll kind of go from there. Anyway, so let's continue talking about some other things as it is 27 minutes past the top of the hour. Matter of fact, before we start talking about other things, maybe it now would be the correct time to bring in Johnny Smalls and him tell us about what happened with the market beat yesterday. Maybe that's what we should be doing at this particular moment in time. So let's do that, and then we'll get into some other things, because that's what we tend to do around here.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. Equities wobble on the first day of trading of 2022, but managed to hold near the closing highs of 2021. Whatever the reason, it looks like January effect is in effect this year and will push stocks higher in the first month of the year. The question, however, is what comes next. If the market closes higher in January, is it likely to close higher for the year? But that doesn't mean it goes straight up. With the new COVID variant on the rise, inflation running unchecked, and the global data supply chain still in trouble, there is a real chance for a major stock market correction in the first half of the year. This week, traders will be focused on the monthly NFP report. The consensus is for job gains in the range of 400,000, with a downtick in unemployment and acceleration of wage gains. Regardless of the numbers, the data shows employment conditions are tight and nearing full employment, if not already there. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. Always some good information on what's going on inside of the market and all that stuff that's going on over there. Anyway, so let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of this world as we are hanging out 29 minutes past the top of the hour. And we are getting close enough. I guess it's close enough to call it. It's close enough to call it. We'll call it the main story. So let's go ahead and do that. Should we do it right now? Or right now? Let's do it that way.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So anyways, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things to think about, and a lot of things to talk about. And, as we have been blending these different worlds, as we've been blending Radio Big with Safety FM, Rated R Safety Show with Psychology, and the Jay Allen Show, and other portions that are going on inside of the network, I think today's going to be one of those days when we start talking about some of the blends, some of the moves and the grooves, and how we're going to talk about how your reality sucks. Yeah, I said that. And let me explain what I mean here. And let me explain on how your reality is not correct. And let me explain as well on how my reality is not correct. So if you hung out this morning, and you took a listen to what we had going on the Jay Allen Show, some of this might sound a little familiar, but then again, some of it might not, just depending. So if we can take a moment and really talk about some of the aspects that we were talking about yesterday, where we were going through that whole thing, and we were talking about how some of the stuff that we do and how it applies and how it works with some and doesn't work with others, and coercive control and all that kind of fun stuff, and misdirection and not understanding of some things. I want you to think about something. I want you to think about different aspects and different points of view. I want you to think about how certain things actually work. Now, I want you to imagine, maybe this is one of the ways to look at it, that you're at a car accident. Okay? And you don't know anybody who was involved in the car accident. You just actually have seen it. Let's say you were walking, it would happen in an intersection that you were close by, and you saw the accident. You kind of have the approach of a spectator. You have the approach of that you got to see it. You have the approach that certain things has occurred, but you were not involved with it. Make sense? That is your reality. Not saying that it didn't have any impact on you. I'm just saying that you're seeing it more of a spectator. Now, let's kind of do a little bit of a change here. Now, let's say, for instance, you were one of the people that was actually inside of the vehicle and were involved in the accident. We're not saying you're injured. We're not saying you're harmed. We're just saying you were involved in the accident. So you saw everything that occurred, meaning from the person inside of the vehicle point of view. How the incident went down, what occurred from the inside of your vehicle. Whose reality was real? Which reality is accurate? Was it the spectator that was standing on the side of the road at the intersection? Or was it the person that was inside of the vehicle? Now think about that as a question for a moment. Think about that on how that actually would tie in. A lot of times in life, we go through certain things, and we know for sure that our reality of whatever occurred is the accurate version, because it is our reality. And how could anybody else see it from any different way? Now, do you think that the spectator on the side of the road feels that way? Or do you think the person inside of the car? And which one is correct? You see how that becomes very interesting when you start thinking about it. Your reality is determined by your mind. And it's amazing if you start thinking about it on how often you pull up a certain memory, how things in your life will actually look at that particular portion. Not that it's actually remembered correctly on how it occurred, but some of the things that were some of the details might fade. some of the things that were the details that occurred at the time might be different than what actually occurred. But because on how you continue to pull it up and pull it up and pull it up and pull it up, those things might change for you. Now, the interesting part is when you start hearing this and when we start talking about it, how often this occurs in what we do for work. It's not that somebody went to work to get injured. It's not that somebody went to work for purposely to cause some kind of chaos. Am I saying it doesn't happen? That's not what I'm saying. But for the most part, most people don't go to work for that intention. But when you start thinking about this, when somebody does an inspection, a review of what occurred, an investigation, which reality is true? The one of the person that went through it, or the one from the investigator? It's amazing when you start thinking about it how your reality is not real. Or is it? Or it sucks, or it's not my reality. And this is, I guess we can start talking about how this is some of the trickery to an extent on how your brain sees things. Because think about it. Your brain neurons are getting tons of information all the time. We essentially start equating certain things where we don't have to go through them over and over and over and over again. A perfect example would be this. I want you to think about the front door of your house. You already know what style door you have on the front door of your house or wherever you live. You know if it's on the left, the knob's on the left, if it even is a knob, or if it's on the right. You know how to open that particular door. You know if it's a key or if it's a code or if it's one of the body symbols, thumbprint type thing, eye, retina display, all that kind of fun stuff. But you know already mentally how to open that door. Now, here's the fun part. That door is not currently in front of you. Well, more than likely it's not in front of you. But you were able to recollect it based off of your memories. You were able to do a color. You were able to do a frame. You were able to do everything based off of a memory. Now, here's the other fun part. That's not the only door in your life that you've seen. Based on your life track, you have opened more than one door. And you are in a portion in your life that when you get to most doors nowadays, you know exactly what to do. And it's not like you have to sit there and look at the whole door going, okay, this is what the frame looks like. Here's where the handles are, how to pull it. You've done it so frequently that you know if you should either push it or if you should pull it or if you need to slide it. And it's not like it's something that you give a lot of thought to every single time you see a door. You've been able to do that off of some version of muscle memory. So let's get to the point here. The reality that we live in sometimes is not exactly everything that you think. Some of it's muscle memory. Some of it's a little bit simpler. Some of it's not exactly what you perceive or what I perceive. Maybe to us it's that version of reality, but it's not the reality for everybody around us. When you start thinking about the whole picture of that, it makes it pretty interesting. If your reality is different, but we see very similar things, but not exactly, who's right and who's wrong? That's really a conversation you could sit there for a long period of time and have about. So here's the thing. Going forward, as we do our things that we do in life, take a look at things sometimes, and even though they might not be your point of view, they don't necessarily need to be the wrong point of view. Maybe the reality side is slightly different than what you originally thought, or the other person thought, or shit, now that I think about it, maybe what a lot of people thought. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
I went down to my Ford dealers to look at a beautiful 1965 Ford. I then took a test drive in a beautiful 1965 Ford. So naturally, I bought a beautiful 1965 Ford. I'm a new Ford owner, can't you tell? Stomach in, chest out, watch me swell. I walk 3 feet in the air, birds are singing everywhere. I'm a new Ford owner, can't you tell? I just got a Ford and it's written all over my face. Look at me and you see a missile soaring into space. I'm a new Ford owner, have you heard? It's no secret I'm in love, spread the word. Every time I see that car, I could leap and touch a star. Every time I turn the key, I hear a bell. I'm a new Ford owner, I'm a new Ford owner, I'm a new Ford owner, can't you tell?
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Trying to find some love in this crazy world. I feel like I was never heard. All I wanted was to be loved. All I wanted was to be loved. Still yours if you want. Yeah, you do it right.
Okay, there you go. 44 minutes past the top of the hour. This is Make It in Time by Gamma Skies featuring Iba. The song's readily available on iTunes and Spotify. Just for information purposes.
What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart, but I lost.
So I don't know. I will tell you, always some great stuff going on around here. Always some great stuff to be able to talk about, some music-wise.
Listen to me as I say.
But you know how it goes already. I am a sucker when it comes to techno-ish music. But anyways, that's not what you're here for. You're not here to listen to the move and the groove of the music. You're here to hang out and talk about some new stuff, so let's do that right away. Anyways, callinradio.com still available if you're wanting to call in, do all that kind of fun stuff. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. Messaging services available right there. Video chat, call in, all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, let's get into some more things that are going to be important to you and important to me. So let's get it moving and grooving. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $244 million jackpot or $172.5 million cash payout. So if you're interested in playing the game, it is interesting to do so. Now, I have to tell you this. I'm going to share this with you for just the sake of doing so. It's not safety related, so bear with me just one moment. But Keanu Reeves donated a huge chunk of his earnings from the original Matrix movie to cancer research. A new report reveals that the 57-year-old gave $35.1 million, about 70% of his paycheck, to leukemia research. The cause is near and dear to Reeves' heart, as his young sister Kim battled the disease for 8 years at the time that he made the donation. She entered remission back in 2001. I thought that was a great story, to be quite honest with you, when I had seen it. And I figured, hey, we need to talk about that here today as we are talking. Anyways, let me tell you about my friends real quick at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences and people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. Anyway, so there you got some of that stuff. We'll get it moving and grooving as we are talking. So as you already know, people start doing some interesting things as they get to the beginning of the new year and all that kind of fun stuff. So we're going to be talking about that, but let's talk about some loopy ideas that are out there. Everyone knows that we should all be doing whatever we can these days to try to be to live sustainably. But a company in the Netherlands is aiming to help us die that way as well. Loop Biotech has come up with the Loop Living Cocoon. Yes, a unique product that is rapidly expanding in the world of green burial. And that way they refer to the first ever living coffin. Instead of being made into the common biodegradable materials such as cotton, linen, willow, or bamboo, the Loop Cocoon coffin is made from living mycelium. Mycelium is the fast-growing root of fungus, is found in everywhere in nature, and is believed by scientists to provide a kind of wood wide web. Yes, wood wide web, not world wide web, wood wide web in the soil that benefits about 90% of the planet species. It, along with the vast network of organisms such as trees, communicate the trade resource. Once introduced into the groundwater, the Loop Cocoon coffin completely breaks down into about 30 to 45 days. Its contents, whereas about the body is traditionally into a coffin for 1 to 2 decades to break down. Loop estimates that the dead person will fully decompose its remains between 2 to 3 years if buried in the Loop Cocoon. The cost? It presently sits around $1,600 and is expected expected to fall as output increases. So there you go. So these aren't the kind of coffins that I've heard about that you can rent, right? So I just want to make sure about that because they do have rental coffins available out there. What else? Boy, that's the last thing I need. You get it? The last thing that I need. You get it? So there you go. And so the coffin breaks down in a month, but the body takes a few years. Well, there's not sure. So there remains to be seen what people will want to do with that. That's for sure. It's an interesting aspect. I mean, I'll tell you. I have been looking. I mean, the weird thing of it was during the holiday, I had looked at some coffins. In regards of just doing the green style burial, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't even know how to explain how I got to that. I mean, if I told you the rabbit hole that I went down just to get to that information, you might have some questions for me that I'm not sure I'm ready to answer yet. I really probably am not sure if I'm ready to answer that. Anyway, so let's talk to John Smalls once again for him to give us some information about the Motivation Minute, and that way we can get that moving and grooving and coming your way right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Paul. Meister Eckhart said, "The price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake." I love that. It reminds me of another saying, to beg for forgiveness rather than to ask for permission. That one has gotten me in trouble a few times. But I'm an action guy. I'd rather make the wrong move than make no move at all. I'm also going to calculate the risk before diving in. But I like to keep moving forward, even if it's inching forward sometimes. Some mistakes will happen, but correct course and keep going. Always make calculated decisions. Don't let any mistake take you too far off course. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quote can be submitted for an upcoming program at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alessamorgan.com. We often hear when it comes to incorporating wellness into our lifestyle, consistency is key. Therefore, any shortcuts that can help with consistency can be important. One such helpful shortcut is consuming apple cider vinegar after eating carbs, especially if you feel like you ate too much. When it comes to carbs, ACV slows down the activity of 3 digestive enzymes that are responsible for converting carbs into simple sugars. Less activity from these enzymes means that carbohydrates are breaking down slower. Slower absorption means more satiety, less of a spike in blood glucose, and decreased hunger throughout the day. Additionally, acetic acid in apple cider vinegar allows for glucose to be better utilized in the tissues and get converted into energy for cells rather than circulating in the body, potentially leading to fat storage. For additional wellness shortcuts, visit alessamorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 53 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. So should we already do an early edition of 2022 in review? Here's what we can look forward to this year according to the British psychic Jamima Pakistan, who makes her predictions by throwing asparagus across a room and observing the patterns formed when they land, earning her the nickname of Mystic Veg. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. So you know that, when you start off the new year, it's normally some light news day, so this is why we're talking about this. So COVID in all its variants will be with us forever, but we'll learn how to adapt and not let it get the better of us. I'm pretty sure that's is what Fauci has been saying for about a year now, so there you go. A brand new way of living will become the norm, working from home, etc., but people will no longer accept shoddy services hiding behind the guise of the pandemics. Yes, still, I had another soggy pizza delivered last night, so something to think about. More sadness for the royal family, including scandals and worse, just like every year. We'll be shocked at the news of the unexpected demise of showbiz legend, just like every year. So there you go. A return to times when foreign travels was an exotic luxury. I will no longer be a regular occurrence, and travel prices will reflect this. It was always been a luxury for us radio scrubs to be able to afford anything of traveling. So there you go. Croatia will win the Football World Cup in 2022, but the competition will still be set up by controversy. So there you go. The Oscar for the best film will go to The Power of the Dog, and Benedict Cumberbatch will be nominated for best actor. So there you go. That's stuff that was predicted by Jamima, Pakistan. So there you go. I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about some Did You Know, because I always think that those things are important. Thousands of people received a surprise gift on Christmas Day when a bank accidentally deposited about $176 million into thousands of accounts by mistake. That happened when a payment from 2,000 business accounts in the UK were processed twice by the European bank Santander, meaning that some employees saw their wages double, while suppliers also got more than what they were expecting. The bank says that duplicated payments were caused by a scheduling issue. That has now been rectified, and it is now trying to recoup the mistaken payment. It turns out the Santander doesn't play by the same rules as Santa. So there you go. If you were excited about seeing that, and all of a sudden, it all went to the crapper, and you're like, oh no, I thought that was my extra money. I got bad news for you. That exactly was not the case. That was not the case. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. So let's take a look. Back in 2021, South Korea records more deaths than births for the first time. The country holds the title of the world's lowest birth rate. So there you go. That happened back on this date in 2021. If you want to talk about some birthdays today, let's talk about that. Coco Jones turns 24, Emma Mackey 26, Clayne White 27, Derrick Henry 28, Chris Bryant 30, Charles Melton 31, Labyrinth, the music producer, turns 33. Not Labyrinth themselves. Let's see. Janae May turns 43, Till Lademan turns 59, and Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mom, just in case you did not know, she turned 68 today. So there you go. Just some stuff that's going on there. If you're looking for a reason to celebrate, I might have some of those for you. Today's National Missouri Day. Not Misery, but National Missouri Day. National Spaghetti Day. And National Trivia Day. So there you go. Some things to do. If you were so forward to looking to do that real quick. Anyways, let's give you some quick information before we get you out of here. It is currently 57 minutes past the top of the hour. So here you go. Some scoops of BS real quick. Veterinarians have once again been voted the least cursed at business in America. Obviously, those who took the survey have never had a vet bill, that's for sure. A study claims that people who vent their anger live longer, just like Alec Baldwin will live forever. Ben Simons is reportedly engaged to his UK TV presenter girlfriend, Maya Jama. So the Mayans had it wrong. My world ended today. Khloe Kardashian recently says that she needs a good cry when you're feeling down. So I started crying when I realized that I was taking advice from a Kardashian. According to a new survey, sarcasm and teasing are two of the key ways that women play hard to get. I don't know how common it is, but also experience a good swift kick in the neither regions. That has actually led to some other things as well as we are talking.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, if you need a random joke for today, you can try this one. You know what I got for Christmas? Fat. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's one thing you really wanted to do in 2022 that you didn't get to do last year? Think about that. Okay, so if you need something for the water cooler, try this. Question: 29% of people do not know this about their partner. What is it? Their favorite salad dressing. So there you go. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on Safety FM and RadioBig.fm. If you want to come out and hang out with me, I'm going over to RadioBig.fm, where we're going to go out and do some music and all that kind of stuff. So come out and do all that fun stuff if you were so inclined to do so. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. We definitely could not do what we do without you. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. You will never win if you never begin. Think about that. I know who you are. You know who I am.
Duh.
Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.